I used to wonder, am I really aging well, or just getting by? Then one afternoon, a younger friend said, you have more energy than me. That's when it hit me. Aging isn't about avoiding wrinkles, it's about thriving while others are just surviving. So I started paying attention not to the number on my birthday cake, but to the signs my body was giving me. Let me walk you through the 7 powerful signs that showed me I was aging healthier than most people around me. If you relate to even a few of these, you're winning the aging game, and you might not even know it yet. Asterisk, I wake up energized, without needing co-FFEE. I remember the exact morning it struck me. I opened my eyes just before sunrise, with a calm mind and a body ready to move. No grogginess, no struggle to roll out of bed, no craving for caffeine, just clarity. It wasn't always like that. In my 40s and 50s, mornings were slow battles. I'd hit the snooze button, drag myself to the kitchen, and grip a steaming mug of coffee like it was a life raft. That was my normal for years. But something changed when I turned 60, not because of magic, not because I stumbled across some miracle supplement, but because I started listening to my body and stopped trying to force it into rhythms that didn't suit me. See, waking up with energy after 60 isn't luck. It's a sign, maybe one of the strongest signs that your body is in sync with itself. It means your hormones are balanced, your organs are working well, and your nervous system isn't on constant alert. Let me explain how I got here. Listening to my natural rhythm, I used to stay up late, scrolling through the news or watching mindless TV until midnight or later. That blue light, the emotional stress of the day's headlines, and the artificial rhythms of modern life, they messed up my sleep more than I realized. I'd wake up in a fog, rely on caffeine to push through the morning, and crash again by mid-afternoon. At around age 62, I made a shift. I began winding down after 8 p.m. I switched screens for books, turned on soft instrumental music, and dimmed my lights. I even started drinking warm chamomile tea instead of snacking at night. The results were almost immediate. Now, I go to bed between 9:30 and 10 p.m., and I wake up often without an alarm, feeling alive. And here's the best part. No coffee needed. That's not to say I never enjoy a cup, but it's not a crutch anymore. It's a choice. If you're over 60 and you're waking up feeling refreshed, that's not something to take for granted. That means your body is healing properly overnight. Your stress hormones like cortisol are balanced, and your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that governs nearly everything, is ticking just right. What morning energy really means, you might be thinking, okay, so what? Some people are just morning people, but that's a myth. Waking up with natural energy isn't just about being a morning person, it's about being in a state of health. When your liver detoxifies properly overnight, when your blood sugar stays stable, when your muscles and brain get enough oxygen during sleep, you wake up charged, not wired, not hyper, just energized. Here are a few signs I noticed that told me my body was functioning well. No need to snooze. I get out of bed as soon as I wake up. No dread, no resistance. Stable mood. I don't feel anxious or overwhelmed in the morning like I used to. Normal digestion. My gut feels light. No bloating, no discomfort. Clear thinking. I can start writing, walking, or even doing light stretching without that foggy feeling. The role of evening habits. Here's something else I did that made a difference. I adjusted my last meal of the day. I used to snack right up until bedtime, nuts, crackers, sometimes even a small sandwich. But late-night digestion was robbing me of deep sleep. Now, I eat dinner by 6:30 p.m. and avoid food after 7. That gave my body time to digest before rest, which deepened my sleep and boosted my morning energy. If you want to wake up feeling good, try giving your body at least 12 hours of overnight fasting. It's simple, powerful, and free. Mind before movement. Another thing I started doing that improved my energy levels in the morning was setting a calming intention before getting out of bed. I lie still for a minute, take 3 slow breaths, and ask myself, what am I grateful for today? This may sound small, but it puts my nervous system in a state of calm. It prevents that spike of adrenaline we often feel first thing in the morning, which leads to that racing mind and, eventually, burnout by noon. It's a small ritual, but it tells my brain, you're safe, you're rested. Let's begin gently. Energy is a sign, not just a feeling. Too often, we treat energy like it's a resource we have to steal back from our body through caffeine, sugar, stimulants. But real energy, at any age, comes from within. When I wake up full of life now, it's not just a nice feeling, it's evidence that my organs are working in harmony. It tells me my inflammation is low, my hormones are in balance, my immune system isn't overworked, and most importantly, it tells me I'm on the right track. If you're over 60 and still need 3 cups of coffee to make it to noon, I encourage you, start small. Shift your bedtime. Eliminate late-night snacks. Give your mind a chance to settle. But if you already wake up feeling good, you're aging better than most. And you might not even realize it. My body recovers quickly, even from setbacks. A few years ago, I tripped while walking down the stairs. Nothing dramatic, just a minor tumble. But something unusual happened afterward. Unlike friends my age who would be sore for weeks or need therapy, I bounced back in just a few days. No lingering pain, no stiffness, no fear of moving again. just a little soreness, and then I was fine. That's when I realized my body recovers faster than most people my age. And no, I'm not superhuman. I don't have perfect genes. What I have is something we can all build, a body that knows how to repair itself. Recovery speed is one of the clearest signs you're aging in a healthy way. If your body can bounce back from illness, fatigue, exercise, or injury faster than your peers, it's not just luck. It's a reflection of how well your system's muscular, immune, cardiovascular are functioning together. Let me show you what helped me get to this place. I prioritized gentle movement over strenuous exercise in my 40s. I believed recovery was only for athletes. You pushed hard, then your muscles healed. But after 60, I realized recovery is an everyday process. From digestion to inflammation to mental fatigue, everything we do requires our body to bounce back. So, instead of overexerting myself, I began to focus on restorative movement. Walking became my daily medicine. I started stretching gently in the mornings, doing light yoga in the evenings, and taking deep breaths throughout the day. What surprised me was that the less I pushed, the better I recovered. My joints stopped aching. I stopped needing naps after physical tasks, and when I did have a minor injury or illness, I was back on my feet in no time. Anti-inflammatory eating changed everything. The real breakthrough, though, came from changing how I ate. For decades, I thought healthy eating was about low fat or counting calories. But once I turned 60, I began learning about inflammation, how it slows healing, damages tissue, and makes recovery harder. So, I cut out the worst culprits: processed sugars, refined carbs, and seed oils. I replaced them with foods that naturally reduce inflammation: fatty fish like salmon, leafy greens like spinach and kale, berries, turmeric, and ginger tea, lots of water to flush toxins in. Just a few months, my knees stopped creaking. My skin healed faster from cuts. Even my digestion improved. I wasn't just eating for energy, I was eating for resilience. Sleep became my best therapy. We often forget this, but the body does its deepest healing during sleep. I used to treat sleep as a side note. I'd stay up late and power through the day, convinced that a short nap or cup of coffee would do the trick. But after a few sleepless nights in my early 60s, I realized how quickly my body fell apart without rest. My immune system crashed. My muscles ached longer. I felt like I aged 10 years overnight, so I began guarding my sleep like treasure. No screens, an hour before bed. Blackout curtains, no caffeine after 2 p.m. Magnesium supplements, a cool, quiet room. Now I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night and wake up feeling like I've gone through a complete body reset. That's when I knew my recovery system had been restored. Stress management equals physical recovery. One of the most overlooked pieces of recovery is emotional stress. When we're anxious, overworked, or constantly thinking negative thoughts, our body goes into survival mode. It can't repair because it thinks we're in danger. I learned this the hard way during a particularly stressful time with family. My body hurt. I caught colds easily. I couldn't recover even from a simple walk. Once I adopted daily calming habits like breathing exercises, journaling, and simply spending 10 minutes in silence every afternoon, everything changed. My immune system calmed down, my inflammation dropped, and my body healed faster again. You see, recovery isn't just physical, it's mental, emotional, and spiritual. All of it is connected. Real-life examples that prove it. Let me give you a few simple real-life tests you can use to measure your own recovery rate and compare it with your peers. After a walk, do your joints feel looser or tighter the next day? After a poor night's sleep, does it take you a full day or more to feel normal again? After a cold, do symptoms linger for weeks, or do you bounce back quickly? After yard work or house chores, are you sore for days, or just a little tired? When I noticed I was recovering quicker than friends around me, I took it as a silent signal that my body was thriving, and that kind of recovery is a gift that keeps giving. Because when your body repairs well, you stay mobile, you stay independent, you reduce the risk of chronic disease. And perhaps best of all, you live without fear. Fear of falling, fear of getting sick, fear of slowing down. Final thoughts? What quick recovery means fast recovery isn't about being youthful, it's about being functional. It means your body is still capable of adaptation, that your cells know how to regenerate, that your immune system is strong, your muscles are flexible, and your organs are cooperating like a well-rehearsed orchestra. People often ask me, how do you stay so active at your age? The truth is, it's not about doing more, it's about recovering better. And if you've noticed that small setbacks don't knock you down like they do others, if your bounce back time is still strong, take heart. You're aging healthier than most. My mind feels clearer than it did in my 40s. I know it might sound unbelievable, but my mind feels sharper new in my 70s than it did when I was in my 40s. Back then, I was juggling a career, raising a family, and constantly overwhelmed by the chaos of life. I forgot names, misplaced things often, and felt like my brain was constantly fogged over with stress. But now, I wake up with mental clarity. I read for hours, solve puzzles, remember details, and hold conversations without fumbling for words. Sometimes I surprise myself finishing crosswords faster than my grandkids or remembering a recipe I haven't cooked in a decade. Mental clarity in old age is not just possible, it's a powerful sign of healthy aging. Let me tell you what helped me sharpen my mind in a world that expects forgetfulness at this stage of life. I trained my brain like a muscle. We exercise our bodies, so why not our minds? When I retired, I promised myself I'd keep learning. Not because I had to, but because I wanted to. I started small, reading articles, watching documentaries, and learning about new topics like space and history. Then I pushed further. I took online courses in nutrition and philosophy. I started keeping a journal again. I even taught myself how to use editing software to make little videos for my grandkids. Every new skill, every new challenge, made my mind feel more alive. You see, the brain needs novelty and challenge. Just like muscles need resistance to grow, your brain needs curiosity and stimulation to stay sharp. Nutrition was a game changer for my brain. I used to eat without thinking. Toast and coffee in the morning, fast food here and there, processed snacks between meals, but I didn't realize my foggy brain was often a result of what I put in my mouth. Once I hit 65, I became intentional about brain-nourishing foods. I started following a mind diet, a blend of Mediterranean and DASH diets. Lots of leafy greens, berries, fish, nuts, and olive oil. I drastically cut back on sugar, processed snacks, and white bread. Within weeks, I could feel the difference. My brain fog lifted. I could remember names again. I didn't feel that 3 p.m. mental crash, and get this, I even started dreaming more vividly, which is a sign of deeper sleep and sharper cognition. If you're over 60, what you eat directly feeds your brain. Think of every meal as brain fuel. That's how I treat it now. Sleep was my mental reset button for decades. I survived on 5 to 6 hours of sleep. I thought it was normal to feel groggy in the morning or need caffeine to function. But it wasn't until I began prioritizing quality sleep that I realized what I was missing. Deep sleep isn't just for rest, it's when your brain literally cleans itself. It flushes toxins, resets memory, and restores your attention span. Once I improved my sleep hygiene: cool room, no screens before bed, magnesium supplements, regular schedule. I noticed a drastic improvement in my memory and alertness. Now, I don't wake up tired. I don't forget where I put my glasses. I don't struggle to concentrate. A well-rested brain is a sharp brain. Period. I found the power of mindfulness back in my working years. I rarely sat still. My thoughts raced constantly. I'd worry about bills, deadlines, the kids' future, never present in the moment. That chronic stress took a toll on my mental clarity. After 60, I learned about mindfulness. It started with 5 minutes a day, just sitting, breathing, being present. I learned to observe my thoughts without getting caught in them. I practiced gratitude in the mornings. I did a simple body scan before bed to release tension. Over time, I became calmer, more focused, more aware. It's like clearing clutter from a room. Suddenly, you can see everything clearly. That's what mindfulness did for my mind. Social interaction was my brain's secret weapon. Isolation is a silent killer of mental sharpness. I learned that the hard way during the early months of the pandemic. Less contact, fewer conversations, and suddenly, I felt my mind slowing down. I forgot small details. My mood dipped. So I made a conscious choice: stay socially connected. I joined a walking group for seniors, signed up for a local library club, and began volunteering twice a month at a community center. Each interaction, each shared story, each laugh was a form of mental exercise. Now I make sure to have real conversations every day. It keeps my mind nimble, my emotions balanced, and my memory sharp. I keep curiosity alive. Perhaps the most important factor in keeping my mind clear is staying curious. Curiosity fuels learning, and learning is what keeps our minds alive. I question things. I look things up. I stay informed. I don't assume I know everything. That's the beauty of aging. You finally have the time to explore the world again, this time through wiser eyes. When you stay curious, you stay connected to life itself. Signs that your mind is aging. Well, if you want to know whether your mental clarity is a sign of healthy aging, here are a few things to reflect on. Can you still focus on tasks without distraction? Do you retain new information easily? Are you remembering names, dates, and appointments better than most your age? Can you still solve problems and make decisions confidently? Do you learn new things regularly and with enthusiasm? If the answer, too many of these, is yes, then your brain is thriving, not declining. A personal note: people often assume that age equals decline, but I'm living proof that's not true. I don't just remember things well, I think clearer, faster, and more deeply than I did decades ago. And the best part? It didn't come from magic. It came from intention. I fed my brain. I trained it. I rested it. I calmed it. I connected it to others. And that's why at 70 plus I can honestly say my mind feels clearer than it did in my 40s. That's not just healthy aging, that's exceptional aging. I rarely catch colds or get sick. I used to think frequent colds were just part of the deal with aging. Every winter I'd stock up on tissues, cough syrup, and lozenges like they were going out of style. My immune system felt like it had gone into retirement before I did. But something changed in my late 60s. I started noticing that while my friends were coming down with flu after flu, I was sailing through the seasons without even a sniffle. When viruses made their rounds at family gatherings, others would get hit hardened. I stayed strong. I wasn't just lucky. I had built a stronger immune system than I ever thought possible. Staying healthy in older age isn't just about avoiding hospital visits. It's about feeling vibrant, alive, capable. So let me share how I got to this point, where I rarely catch colds or get sick anymore, and what this says about aging well. I eat to support my immune system. It wasn't always this way. For years, my meals were more about habit and convenience than health. Cereal in the morning, sandwiches at lunch, some kind of meat and potatoes for dinner. Not terrible but far from immune-boosting. Everything changed when I started paying attention to what my immune system actually needs. Now, my plate looks like a rainbow. I eat dark leafy greens, almost daily spinach, kale, arugula. I snack on berries and citrus fruits, rich in vitamin C. I've added fermented foods like yogurt and kefir to improve my gut health. And garlic, let's just say I put it in everything. My focus shifted from calories to nutrients, vitamin D, zinc, selenium, antioxidants. I started choosing whole, unprocessed foods that support immune function and fight inflammation. When I began feeding my body what it truly needed, it responded by defending me more effectively. It's not a miracle, it's smart aging. Hydration became a daily discipline. Most people underestimate water. I used to be one of them. A few cups of tea, maybe some juice, and that was it. I didn't realize that dehydration even suppress immune function, fog the brain, and slow metabolism. Once I started tracking my water intake, I noticed huge changes. More energy, better digestion, fewer headaches, and most importantly, fewer illnesses. I now drink a full glass of water first thing in the morning, before every meal, and sip throughout the day. I flavor it naturally with lemon or mint if I need variety. It's simple, but it works. Staying hydrated keeps my body resilient. Daily movement kept my blood flowing, and my immune system thriving. I'm not an athlete. You won't find me running marathons or lifting heavy weights. But every single day, I move. Walking is my medicine. I walk after meals. I walk with friends. I walk in the park, at the mall, around my home. I also do light stretching, yoga, or balance exercises when I can. Regular movement boosts circulation, reduces inflammation, improves lymphatic drainage, and lowers stress, all of which directly support the immune system. Exercise in old age doesn't need to be intense. It just needs to be consistent. Consistency is the cure. I let go of chronic stress. Here's a truth I didn't learn until later in life. Stress can weaken your immune system more than anything else. For decades, I wore stress like a badge of honor. I was always on edge about my job, finances, the news, you name it. But stress releases cortisol, and when that hormone stays elevated, it suppresses immune responses down. I actively protect my peace. I meditate daily, even if just for 5 minutes. I journal. I breathe slowly when I feel anxious. I say no to things that drain me, and yes to things that bring joy. By reducing stress, I've seen direct improvements in my health. My skin is clearer, my blood pressure dropped, and of course, I hardly ever get sick. Managing stress isn't just for mental health, it's essential for immune health too. I soak in sunshine and take vitamin D, one of the most overlooked immune boosters in older adults. Vitamin D. After age 60, our skin becomes less efficient at producing vitamin D from sunlight. I learned this the hard way when a blood test revealed I was deficient. Once I began supplementing properly and spending more time outside in the morning sun, everything changed. I felt less sluggish. My bones felt stronger. My seasonal colds stopped completely. Now, I aim for 15 to 20 minutes of gentle sunlight daily and take a high-quality vitamin D3 supplement during the winter months. It's a simple change, but for me, it made a huge impact. On my immune strength, I take immunity seriously even when I feel fine. One mistake I used to make, ignoring my immune system unless I got sick, but aging taught me that prevention is the best defense. I stay up to date on important vaccines. I wash my hands religiously. I avoid people who are clearly sick. I take rest seriously when my body tells me to slow down. Most importantly, I listen to my body every single day. A sore throat, a tight chest, a change in energy, these little signals help me stay ahead of illness before it takes hold. Being proactive is a form of wisdom, and wisdom, I've learned, is a sign of aging well. The science behind immunity. And aging doctors used to say that a weaker immune system was just part of aging. But new science is showing that how we age is far more important than when we age. People who age with lower inflammation, better gut health, and healthier sleep patterns retain stronger immunity well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. Your immune system is not destined to fail. It's a living, trainable part of your body that can improve no matter your age. Final thoughts from my personal journey. I haven't had the flu in over 5 years. I can't remember the last time I had a sore throat. My grandkids visit me, even when they're under the weather, and while I still take precautions, I rarely get sick. This isn't luck. It's the result of small, intentional choices made every day. When you support your immune system with nutrition, movement, hydration, stress relief, and sunlight, you don't just get fewer colds. You get a healthier, stronger, more energetic life. I'm living proof that aging doesn't have to mean decline. In fact, with the right habits, aging can mean resilience. I wake up excited for the day ahead. You know what surprised me the most about healthy aging? It wasn't my stronger bones or sharper memory. It was this simple, powerful feeling. I wake up excited for the day ahead. Now, that may not sound like a big deal, but if you've ever faced a morning where you dreaded getting out of bed, you know exactly how much it matters. Waking up with purpose, energy, and curiosity is one of the greatest signs that you're aging not just well, but exceptionally well. Let me tell you how. I went from dragging myself through the day to feeling like each morning is a gift I can't wait to open. I rebuilt my morning routine from the ground up. For a long time, my mornings were chaotic. I'd wake up tired, stiff, and often in a bad mood. I'd check my phone first thing, and before I even had coffee, I was buried in news and negativity. That all changed when I realized how I start my day sets the tone for everything. Now, I begin each morning with a small, personal ritual. It starts with quiet. I sit on the edge of my bed and take 5 slow, deep breaths. Then I drink a full glass of water and stretch gently before standing. Before I check the news or my phone, I journal. 1 sentence. What am I grateful for today? This simple change rewired how I experience mornings. They no longer feel like something to survive. They feel like something I own. My sleep is consistent and restorative. One of the biggest reasons I'm able to wake up happy is because finally I sleep like I should. It didn't come easy. In my 60s, I struggled with tossing, turning, and waking up in the middle of the night. I thought it was just part of getting older. But I learned that quality sleep is one of the clearest indicators of healthy aging. So I worked hard to improve mine. Here's what made the biggest difference. I go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even weekends. I keep my bedroom cool and completely dark. I stop drinking caffeine after 1 p.m. I avoid screens for an hour before bed and instead read a physical book. Now, I fall asleep easier, stay asleep longer, and wake up feeling rested. That alone has added so much joy to my mornings. I found purpose in my daily life. Waking up excited doesn't come from having nothing to do. It comes from having something worth doing. That's what changed everything for me. After I retired, I struggled with a sense of aimlessness. No more deadlines, no more meetings. At first, it felt great, but then the boredom set in. I realized that retirement without purpose is just another kind of stress. So I asked myself, what makes me feel alive? The answer wasn't one big thing, it was many small ones. I started volunteering once a week at a community garden. I took up painting again, something I hadn't done since my 30s. I began calling an old friend every Sunday morning. I joined a walking group in my neighborhood, and I made time to write letters to my grandchildren. These may seem like little things, but they give my life richness, and they give me a reason to get out of bed smiling. My mind feels sharp and curious. Another reason I look forward to each day. I love learning. Even at my age, I feel like a student of life. That's how I know my brain is still thriving. Every morning after breakfast, I spend 20 to 30 minutes reading. Sometimes it's the newspaper. Other times it's a chapter from a novel, or even an audiobook. I also play memory games on my tablet, or do crossword puzzles. It's like taking my brain to the gym, but it's not just about mental exercise, it's about being engaged with the world. I ask questions, try new things, and keep up with what's happening in my community. My mind doesn't feel like it's winding down. It feels like it's still expanding. I have a deep appreciation for life's simple moments. Waking up excited doesn't mean every day is full of grand adventures. In fact, it's often the little things that bring me the most joy. Watching the sunrise while sipping tea on the porch, hearing the birds chirp outside my window, feeling the breeze as I walk around the block, laughing with a neighbor over something silly, sharing stories with my grandkids. These are the moments that once passed me by unnoticed. But now, I treasure them. I've trained myself to slow down and savor life, not rush through it. That's something I never understood when I was younger. I was always chasing the next thing. Now I realize the greatest beauty is often right in front of us if we just take the time to notice it. I prioritize peace over pressure as I aged. I learned to let go of things I can't control. That's why I wake up lighter, calmer, and more at peace. I no longer measure my worth by productivity. I don't compare myself to others. I don't let small annoyances ruin my mood. Instead, I ask myself 2 questions each morning. What can I do today that brings me peace? What can I do today that brings someone else joy? Even a small act, a kind word, a smile, a thoughtful message can change someone's day. And that, in turn, fills my day with meaning. When you live like this, mornings become a blessing, not a burden. Aging well means feeling enthusiastic about life. If I could give one piece of advice to someone over 60, it would be this. Don't let your days blur together. Don't settle for just existing. Waking up excited for the day ahead is not reserved for the young. It's possible, no, essential for us seniors too. And the more we cultivate joy, purpose, and health, the more energized we feel. You can feel this way too. You just have to be intentional with your habits, your mindset, and your heart.